Good day, gamers. 14 here. Welcome to what is unfortunately going to be the last episode of Minecraft StoneBlock. Hello, everyone. So, obviously, sitting here chilling in my StoneBlock world. Unfortunately, missed last week's episode. Again, apologies for that. The reason I missed last week's episode was because doing some off-camera grinding, doing some off-camera work, working up some materials and stuff. And unfortunately, as I was working on making materials and stuff, I started noticing something. There's something being that, I'll give you an example. You see this chest here has a whole bunch of glass in it. It's got, several rows of glass, got a stack here, got like 3/4 of a stack here. Unfortunately, last week, I was, grinding up some cobblestone, to be gravel, to be dirt, to be sand, smelting the sand into glass, putting the glass into here. Put the materials in the chest, logged out, came back later on, and noticed that I was missing a lot of materials. I had made a bunch more of these basic processors. Basic processors were gone. Made a bunch of glass. Like this entire thing, this was last week, this entire thing of glass was nearly full. Came back, just logged out of the game as regular. No crashes, no error logs, no world failed to save, nothing of that sort. Logged back in, picking up where I left off, and I noticed, I seem to have a lot less glass than I thought I did. Checked the crate over here of ores. I had been working on taking a bunch of sticks, grinding them up into sawdust to make charcoal, to then convert into coal, to then convert into coal coke. Noticed I was missing like several blocks of charcoal. Looking back in my saves, because I make iterative saves every day before I start playing, just in case something happens, the game crashes or something blows up or whatever. And I noticed, in previous saves, okay, I had these materials. The materials, like the glass was being smelted in the big smelter, the charcoal was still being cooked in the thing. But all the work, the like several hours of just working on materials off camera was gone. So that happened last week's Friday. I noticed that as I was, getting ready to start recording for the day. Like, hey, I'm finishing up working on these materials. The materials are set. Everything is good. Exit out of the game, didn't even close the game all the way. Just, save and quit to title. Log back in after, going to get some food. Came back, logged back into the game, and noticed stuff was missing from the chest. Now, obviously, this is a single-player world. It's not like someone went and stole anything from the chests. But yeah, stuff was missing from the chests. And that constituted, like, several hours of just off-camera work, of grabbing sticks from the tree farm, moving them downstairs, processing them in the mechanism grinder, the mechanism sawmill, to become sawdust, putting the sawdust in the enrichment chamber to become charcoal, and, all the processes that I've shown off. And it was honestly rather disheartening I try to show you all what, at the very least, I would consider to be interesting, the interesting parts of the mod pack. The making of a machine, showing off the machine to, show what it looks like, how it works, things of that nature. Exploring different dimensions. That's the interesting stuff to me, and that's the stuff that I want to show you all. Sitting here, let's give you an example. Sitting here, down here in the basements, just constantly monitoring the amount of cobblestone I have. Speeding up this machine here to, process the cobblestone faster. Grabbing 9 stacks of cobblestone out of here to then take it over to the crusher. Waiting for the crusher to turn it all into gravel. Coming over here, grabbing a few stacks of sticks. Moving the stacks of sticks into the sawmill. Grabbing the sawdust out of the storage crate that I had set up to grab all the sawdust, putting the sawdust into here to convert into charcoal. This is all stuff that, while it's interesting to see, like the first time or two, I've been trying to do a ton of this stuff off camera, just because, not to say that I find it boring, I do enjoy playing this portion of the game, but in terms of like creating videos, creating things for you all to watch and listen to, which, by the way, thank you very much to all of my followers, both new and all. I appreciate every single one of you. This is the kind of stuff that I don't find as interesting to, record and edit to then have you all watch. I could record me sitting here for 6 hours and just looking at this machine, going over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, speeding that up. And so I could do that, but it wouldn't be that interesting. So I try and do all of that off camera. I'll sit down in the morning before I get ready for my day job. I'm eating breakfast for a little while. So I've got maybe, I don't know, let's say 45 minutes worth of time that I can just sit here and let these machines run and grind up resources. And, that way I'm working on a little something each day without having to sit for, an entire day just doing this. So I try to work on it, all this stuff off camera. So that way what I'm showing you all is, hey, I've got all the materials. Let me go ahead and put them together into the interesting machines, set up the interesting machines, show you what those things look like. And unfortunately, like I said, last week, I found out that I had gotten hit by whatever this bug is that is making it to where items are just disappearing from random chests. Again, I've looked into it as much as I'm able to. There's no crash logs, there's no error messages, there's no fail to save world. The game is not crashing, nothing. Everything is working exactly how Minecraft has worked for the many years that I've played Minecraft. I've not had this bug happen before that wasn't also like including a crash, or if I'm playing on a multiplayer server, a disconnect from the server, or the server itself crashes, or things of that nature. I've never had this kind of bug happen where it's not, because of something. And it's completely random. It is completely and utterly random. I will have times where I'll go through several days of, just hopping on, grind for materials. I will do some tests where I will take, I'll take some items and I will shift click them into a random chest. Give it a second, log out of the game, log back into the game. Perfectly fine. Everything is still in the chest. Not a problem. It'll happen with different chests. Like, it's been happening sometimes with this chest. Other times it'll happen with like this storage crate or this storage crate. It's happened with this one. So there's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no pattern that I can see of where, oh, I accidentally did this and that means that it's gonna turn the world read-only or something. I don't know what it is about, about me playing this mod pack that is making this bug happen. But unfortunately, it was happening again this week, which is why this episode is coming out so late on Friday. I had been working, this was even my, I took a week off from work because I wanted to take vacation time, but also I wanted to spend some time grinding materials and trying to make it so the next time I played, I had all the materials that I needed to just go ahead and make the final version of the refined storage thing, and then I could, start progressing on the next thing. And, several days worth of tests, like I said, I'd go in, I'd have a bunch of glass, I would shift it in there, I'd save and quit it, shutting down internal server. I'd go back into the game, make sure that I select the correct copy of it, not, one of these other copies that I make is entered as iterative saves, but, make sure I choose the correct one. Load the world, give it some time. And then I'd go in and I'd check and stuff would be missing. Like it's here now. It's here now. But the fact remains that it just keeps happening with, again, no rhyme or reason. I never know when it's going to happen. But every time that it happens, it erases like several hours of just off-camera progress. Again, it's nothing that I'm, all that worried about showing you all, but it is time spent grinding for materials. It's time spent letting these machines process into a usable form that I can show, hey, here's how to build this nifty machine, or here's how to make this other material. And it's been very disheartening, unfortunately. It really has. One of the things that I like to do each day as I'm, doing other things is I'll have my brain just kind of be working on, the thought process of what the next machine is that I need to build. And, oh, I need to make this machine to make this material to make this machine and so on. And I've not been able to do that recently just because every time I start thinking about this, I have the stopping point, unfortunately, of, but what happens if this bug happens again and I lose, X amount of time worth of processing time, for lack of a better term. And again, I've never experienced this bug as far as I can remember. I've never experienced this bug in any of the other mod packs I've played, in any of the other times that I've ever played Minecraft. I've never had it where, if I'm shift clicking into a chest, if I'm, just clicking, dragging to put stuff in the chest and having stuff just to disappear. Now, yes, in all fairness, I could just console command, give myself 9 stacks of glass. I lost 9 stacks of glass. I could just give myself 9 stacks of glass. I'm well aware of that. That's not the way that I was looking to run the series, if you will. I know that very much I make a machine. The machine now, through this process to this process to this process, now allows me to have infinite cobblestone. We'll use a pretty good example. I know that this right here, this setup, will, given enough time, produce infinite cobblestone. It is already producing infinite cobblestone. And all the machine has to do is run the loop to compress the cobblestone, and then I will have double compress, triple compress, quadruple, quintuple, sextuple, septuple, and so on. So yes, I am aware that I could just run the series as, hey, I have made said machine. This is now giving me infinite materials. So to save time, I'm just going to, slash give at Fortane infinite amounts of cobblestone, 64 stack of octuple compressed cobblestone, because all I have to do is wait long enough and it'll do this. Same thing with, with this storage crate here. We'll use this as an example. With the auto heavy sieve, with the diamond stiffened mesh, with sieve efficiency 5, sieve fortune 3, I am very well aware of the fact of, given the fact that I have multiple methods of generating power, I effectively have infinite power, whether it be slow or fast. I have infinite power. I have infinite cobblestone. I can take the infinite cobblestone, put it in the crusher to make gravel, which means I have infinite gravel. I take the gravel, I put it into this, I take the compressed gravel, I put it into the sieve. That gets me X materials. Given enough time, I simply just now have infinite materials. I just console command give myself, give at give Fortane 64 diamond blocks, give Fortane 64 iron blocks, I understand that I can do that. And the only thing that I am saving from doing that is time. Like, this setup produces an infinite amount of this. Therefore, I'm going to cut out the time and simply give myself these materials. I know that that is, in a way, a fair way to do it. I don't have to sit here and work on this machine, and then while this machine is processing, go over here and fill up this machine to now do this. And then while this is running, I go over to this machine and toss the gravel in to become... I understand that I don't have to do that, but that is part of, the fun of playing Minecraft. I've played these, mod packs for so long for the simple reason of I can be working on a project. I can work on gathering materials, doing these kind of grinding things, especially for a series that I'm trying to create for consumption for you all, which again, thank you all very much for watching. I do appreciate y'all. But I can do a lot of this stuff off camera, and I'm listening to, Star Wars. I'm listening to Doctor Who. I'm listening to podcasts or whatever I want to listen to. I can be, progressing towards a goal, but also, fudging on, the latest whatever. And I have enough concentration that I can be, working on this and not miss anything. And just, console commanding in okay, I have a farm upstairs. If I create a garden cloche, I now have, I have this machine that makes infinite water. I have infinite power. I make a garden cloche. Put wheat in, put a wheat seed in there, put fertilizer in there. Okay, this thing is just now forever going to create wheat. So I might as well just go ahead and give myself, an entire, large shipping crates worth of stacks of hay bales, because this will eventually give me all of that. And for me, that's not fun. For me, that is really no different from simply playing in creative mode. And again, different people have different ways they play these video games. I will never discount that fact. But for me, just giving myself these materials takes away from the fun of, I've built this machine, I have upgraded it to be the best that it can, and now I'm gonna let this machine run, babysit a little bit, let this machine run, babysit a little bit, let this machine run, babysit a little bit, and then when I come back, I now have this number go up, and this number go up, and this number go up. A lot of Minecraft is number go up the video game, especially with these, these mechanical mod packs and stuff. I am fully admitting that fact. But just giving myself, an infinite amount of this supply, that supply, or the other supply, it honestly robs the fun from the game. It takes away from the fun of, doing this. Because at a certain point, it's like, well, I could just, if I'm just giving myself these materials, I could make the garden cloche. I turn it on for 2 seconds, go, I now am admitting the fact that I now have infinite wheat, so I turn it off and never touch it again. Then what was the whole point of me making the machine? It's like, yes, making the machine now grants me access to this infinite resource over time, but it's like, flip it on, I've produced one resource, I now have infinite. It's like, no, I don't know. That's just me. That is my opinion on the matter. If you have a different opinion, you're more than welcome to your opinion. I will not say that, my opinion on this is more valid than yours. But unfortunately, it has been very, very discouraging to work on, an hour here, an hour there's worth of grinding for materials, producing this, producing this power, what have you, and then just have the results completely disappear. And like I said, I've never encountered this bug before for any other version of Minecraft, any other mod pack, anything like that, where it also wasn't accompanied by a crash, an error log, something, a disconnection. So I really hate to say it, but I think I'm going to end the series here. This series, which sucks. It really does, because to me, the biggest disappointment about this is it, yet again, it is another unfinished series stopping well before the ending points by something I can't control. There's been many times over the years, whether I'm, playing with other people, where we just stop playing a video game because someone loses interest, the group loses interest, and it's not worth playing by yourself when you've been playing with people. Or situations like this where, it is a game-breaking bug. There is no, uninstall and reinstall the mod pack or go back to a much earlier save. There's no fix for the situation. I've looked. Believe me, I've looked. But it's disheartening to, like I said, once again, just have a series that does not get the chance to run its course. I have gotten nowhere close to doing all the things that I was wanting to or thinking about doing here in StoneBlock. We take a look at the start of StoneBlock questline. There's still all this stuff to do. Power generation, there's all this stuff to do. And, I could sit here and console all of these things in to just complete it and call it, yay, I did it. But that really cheapens the whole thing. I could sit here and keep micro save stating, for lack of a better term, to try and pinpoint at what point, between this save and this save, I've lost 37 diamond blocks. Okay, give myself 37 diamond blocks. Make sure it's set. Okay, we're good. At a certain point, I'm probably going to miss that I've lost something and don't even realize it. It may have happened. I don't think it has, but it may have happened. But again, this is, this is the first time I've encountered this kind of bug. And I mean, the only thing I can think of is that it's some bug in the mod pack itself. Again, I've looked up all the causes that it could be, done all the testing that I can, done all of the, troubleshooting and stuff. It's not a hardware issue. It's none of that. It's just there is a bug inherent in the system that has never been present in any other mod pack. So, like I said, unfortunately, I think I'm just going to have to end the series here. I am going to leave these episodes up. This will be the finale, what was going to be episode 30. I'm going to leave the episodes up for a while. Don't want to take them down, but there's a part of me that's like, why bother keeping them up if you're not going to finish the series? And there's wisdom in that, but at the same time, I'm like, hey, I've had a bunch of people enjoying this mod pack. I don't know. I do have some ideas for what mod pack or something I would like to do next. I've got a few ideas. Maybe checking out some of the, this is 112.2, so this is by and large a very old mod pack compared to some of the more recent ones. There's a couple other, not exactly mod packs, but kind of standalone mods that I would like to take a look at and basically create a series out of that I could most definitely do. I do also most definitely want to get into, and this was a goal of mine for 2026 anyway, is to go through and be editing all of the D&D sessions that I've been a part of over the years. We've got something like 112, I think, sessions of Rime of the Frost Maiden. I still need to edit all of those and get them ready for YouTube. We've got like 45, 46 or so sessions of Children of Nova, the other D&D campaign that I'm in. Got to edit those together, which is gonna be a chore given a few things, but it is doable. And I was looking forward to playing this. For the frustration of this bug, I have been enjoying playing StoneBlock. I've been enjoying, doing all the derpy stuff with chickens. Showing you all, the weird combinations of chickens that you can make. This chicken plus that chicken equals funky chicken. I've been enjoying playing this. But unfortunately, just this bug of losing, hours upon hours worth of processing progress is just disheartening, to the point where, like I said, because it's completely random, there's no cause, no error that I can see. I just have to call it done, unfortunately, and put my energy towards something that hopefully will not have this bug. Again, if I had seen this bug in other mod packs, that would be one thing. If I'd encountered this bug previously, that would be one thing. If I could, see that, by doing this and this, it creates an overload error here, so I just need to make sure that this isn't done. That would be one thing. I could mitigate, these things from happening to where it happens if you're playing for more than an hour for some stupid reason. Okay, make sure to not play for more than 50 minutes at a time, whatever. but there is no rhyme or reason to it. And unfortunately, that just makes it very disheartening. So I do want to say once again, I thank all of you so very much for watching. This is not the end of me on YouTube. This is the end of this series. But I will be continuing on with some new mod pack, new to me mod pack, some other Minecraft shenanigans. Like I said, I've got some ideas. I will also be beginning to upload the old D&D sessions, hopefully sometime pretty soon. But I just needed to make a finale, an unfortunate finale, we'll call it, for StoneBlock, because I can't continue it with the constant feeling of dread of, oh no, I've just lost X amount of hours worth of progress in it. It really sucks the fun out of it. If you all like playing video games, think of a video game where you make progress in it and you check your housing, you check your storage, you check your whatever, to find that a bunch of materials that you've been working for the past however long are just now gone. No rhyme, no reason, no bug that you can see, just gone. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'd feel the same way. But again, I want to thank you all so very much for watching. If you would like to stick around, I greatly appreciate you. Feel free to stick around. I'm looking forward to the next project. But until next time, thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you have a good day and good game.